This is a special presentation of Newswatch 12. Welcome to the Stormwatch 12 winter forecast.
It's just a few weeks away from the start of winter. And while that can mean chilly months ahead, it can also mean a variety of weather across our region. Wind-driven storms may batter the coast, or ice and snow may coat our valleys. The mountains usually see feet of snowfall during the winter months. I'm Newswatch 12 Chief Meteorologist Kate McKenna. In the next half hour, we'll be getting a look at the ski season outlook, driver safety, and we'll have a snowy winter, if we'll have a snowy winter. Speaking of snow, that's something Southern Oregon can't always count on, but we can count on the fog. Not just in the mornings, but fog for days on end. The dense fog that develops hampers travel on roadways and especially in the sky. Thick fog can send air traffic to a standstill. So the staff at the Rogue Valley International Airport specially designed and constructed a device to alleviate the problem.
We thought it would work good, but we were just amazed.
Airport delays and cancellations are becoming less of an issue in our area, thanks to an invention by the maintenance staff at the Rogue Valley International Medford Airport. Right behind me is the balloon known as Casper. It's about 16 feet in diameter, and it is used to clear about 2,000 feet of runway, and that is exactly what pilots need to be able to see on days when it is very foggy. Casper, the fog-seeding balloon, is named after its animated likeness. In fact, that name came before its acronym. But wanting something more official, Airport Director Bern Case came up with a cable-attached system providing effective release. And airports across the country are interested in Casper's technology.
I can't guarantee they haven't tried yet, but we've provided them with our plans and how it works, and I think it'll spread even more. So,
by launching dry ice into the fog when there are freezing temperatures, moisture is pulled from the air, clearing the fog. It's an old technique that, until recently, required an airplane to take someone up into the fog to hand grind the dry ice into the atmosphere.
The aircraft would cut a swath through the sky, clear the fog, and he'd turn around and land, a small aircraft. He'd land in the clearing that he just made. It
was dangerous. And as FAA regulations changed, something had to be done to make the process safer. So the airport created Casper, a helium-filled balloon and what's basically a fertilizer spreader for dry ice tethered to a truck. On a foggy day with temperatures freezing or below and Casper is deployed, it's about 500 feet in the air. And of course, visibility is very low, so you can't see a white balloon in such foggy conditions. But what you can see is this red beacon. And of course, we know where Casper is because it is tethered to a truck on the ground. While people nearby can't see Casper because of the fog, it does give off clues that it's on the job. When the dry ice reacts with the fog, there's an icy byproduct that coats nearby roadways. It can slow nearby drivers, but keeps the airport from stopping altogether.
And when we say go on this, sometimes we're talking 10, 12, 15 minutes at the most. The cost is less to us. The airlines pay the cost through fees, but we've saved them a lot of money and are getting a more effective product for them. So we're really pleased with it. And with the holiday travel season starting to ramp up, along with the foggy winter days on the horizon, you might have a balloon to thank for getting you to your destination on time. Now, although Casper is helping out with air travel, roadways are, of course, affected by our winter weather, too. Stormwatch 12 meteorologist Seth Phillips got some tips for driving in snow and ice, as well as a little bit of driving practice with a pro.
Southern Oregon and Northern California have the unique ability to experience many different types of weather patterns each year. Now, while that makes it a great place to live, unfortunately, it can create a hazard for motorists on the roads like this. Drivers in our region deal with many different kinds of weather on a yearly basis, and being prepared is very important. Depending on where you live, threats range from flooding to snow-covered roads and everything in between. I wanted to get an in-depth look at how to stay safe on the roads, but before I could hop into a vehicle to test out my driving skills, I went to Rogue Community College's driver's safety class at the Medford Riverside campus. Looking at the test, though, I knew I'd need help from some of the students. Let's see if they can give me some pointers on how to better prepare. Question 1. How long of a follow distance should you give yourself in inclement weather?
Between 4 and 6 seconds.
Question 2. After hydroplaning, when is it safe to stop the vehicle?
When the tire regains traction with the road.
Question 3. In the event of a skid, which direction should you turn your wheel and what should you do?
In the direction of the skid and just don't apply anything, no brake or gas.
Question 4. Which freezes first, bridges or roads?
Bridges, because there's more air travel underneath the bridges.
Question 5. What items should you include in your car's emergency kit?
Water, like snacks, like trail mix, granola bars, possibly a flare, first aid kit, a blanket, a jacket, and gloves, and a hat.
Driver's test? Check. But now that I've learned the concepts, it's time to apply them. The best way to do that is to finally get behind the wheel of a vehicle and test out those skills. With an instructor, of course. I get to drive around with RCC's driving instructors, Kenneth Jones and Stephen Grubb, to get more information and to put those skills to the test. So how would you safely prepare your vehicle, say, when we start getting these winter storms and even a lot of rain like we have been getting lately? How would you best prepare your vehicle for that?
The best thing to do is first to make sure that you have good tires, because that's what's going to cause you to move forward and move backward and steer correctly. Windshield in and out, and the back rear windshield in and out should be cleaned regularly, as well as your headlights and your taillights. You want to try to probably make sure that you have at least a full tank of gasoline, not less than a half a tank, because you never can tell when you might end up being stuck. You just have blankets and water and food and snacks, things like that, to help sustain you if you do get stuck or stranded.
So when you're slipping, skidding, or say fishtailing, which is a commonly used term sometimes, how do you react to that situation?
Well, whether you're skidding, your front wheels are skidding, or your rear wheels are skidding, or you're an all-wheel skid, you want to come off the brakes and off the gas. You want to look as far forward as possible that you can into the target area. The steering that you're going to have is going to be very minimal, and that will help keep you from, help you recover from the skid and not oversteer so that you go into an opposite skid.
So explain black ice.
Well, black ice essentially is water, a very thin sheet of water that is on the road surface, and it freezes. And as the vehicle goes over it, there is a sudden loss of steering control and or traction.
In the entire event of, say, rain, sleet, or snow, when are the roads the most dangerous?
Well, actually, they're most dangerous right after a very dry spell. We have a lot of oil and other residue that's on the road surface, and it takes a good 15 or 20 minutes of a good steady rain to wash it away. So after the lesson and the drive around town, my instructors were already starting to realize the improvement that I'd made. I will have to say that you're a good learner, too, because your push-pull techniques are improving every mile.
Learning the concepts and how to react to different weather conditions is just the first step. Where it's really going to matter is out there, in real-life situations. The weather's going to do what it wants to do, so we are the best defense against the elements. I'm going to go ahead and continue practicing my driving skills. If you find yourself on the road this winter, make sure you wear your safety belt and stay safe out there.
From staying safe to having fun, coming up, meteorologist Alyssa Carroll-Priest gives us insight to the upcoming ski season and the effort to move past last year's dismal season. But first, throughout our special, we'll be testing your weather knowledge with our weather Q&A. Our first question is, what is the scientific name for those pretty symmetrical snowflakes? Your choices are A, dendrodes, B, klondikes, or C, dendrites. I'll have the answer when we return. Do you know the scientific name for those pretty symmetrical snowflakes? Is it A, dendrodes, B, klondikes, or C, dendrites? We asked this question before the break. The answer, dendrites. Well, snow continues to be a hot topic, especially for the Mount Shasta Ski Park. Alyssa Carroll-Priest reports from Mount Shasta on what the park is expecting for the upcoming season.
After an uneventful season last winter, workers here at Mount Shasta are hopeful that this year Mother Nature will bring in some more snow.
Welcome back to the Stormwatch 12 winter forecast on News Watch 12.
Well, do you know the scientific name for those pretty symmetrical snowflakes? Is it A, dendrodes, B, klondikes, or C, dendrites? The answer, dendrites. Well, snow continues to be a hot topic, especially for the Mount Shasta Ski Park. Alyssa Caro-Priest reports from Mount Shasta on what the park is expecting for the upcoming season.
After an uneventful season last winter, workers here at Mount Shasta are hopeful that this year Mother Nature will bring in some more snow.
We could have the fire hose turned on us. You know, that Pineapple Express could really be aimed our way. We're looking forward to that. That's what we're hoping for.
Looking forward, Dane says, because none of us want to look back.
Last year was the first year that we opened on completely man-made snow.
It was a rough year for local mountains. Mount Shasta, in its 26 years of existence, opened for just 4 days. In those 4 days, the ski park was only able to offer snow tubing, a new program Mount Shasta launched last year.
Everybody was here to tube, really.
What seemed like a great start to the winter led to a quiet finish. The lack of snow allowed Mount Shasta and Mount Ashland to qualify for federal assistance through a natural disaster program. Both say it was a very big help in getting ready for this season.
It was an SBA loan that was, a low-interest loan that allowed us to carry on.
And carry on is exactly what season pass holders wanted Mount Ashland to do. So much so that many donated the amount of their pass to the mountain and purchased passes for this upcoming winter. But still, the big question mark this year is similar to last.
Are we going to get the cold temperatures?
Right.
And that's anybody's guess yet.
The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration is calling for a 58% chance of a weak El Nino developing over the next few months. What does this mean for our area? It could mean more moisture through the winter. However, the forecast also calls for greater than a 50% chance of above average temperatures. This would then put us in the same boat as last year.
During these El Nino years, these El Nino cycles, it really could go both ways.
So let's say that way is south. If the drought worsens or temperatures aren't cold enough this winter, what is the plan?
Summer activities such as mountain coasters, zip lines that we're going to take a look at.
If we do have the moisture coming in and temperatures become the only variable, Mount Shasta can make its own snow if it is cold enough.
We need temperatures below 26 degrees, essentially. Oh. And we want those temperatures to be consistent enough. We need it for several days in a row to optimize our snowmaking because we've got a limited water supply.
A limited water supply. This is actually the reason why Mount Ashland cannot produce its own snow.
The Ashland watershed there is a pristine, area, and that's not a place where we would look to try to draw water, and so that leaves us reliant upon Mother Nature.
Mount Shasta is hopeful that Mother Nature will pull through, and that, plus their snowmaking, will allow them to open.
If we could see the big mountain right now, you'd see that the upper mountain is loaded with snow. We've been getting enough rain at these lower elevations to saturate the ground, which is going to help us out with our snowmaking efforts.
Typical season opening is early to mid-December, and after last year, they are more than ready to show off the latest improvements to the ski park. You're looking at one of Mount Shasta's newest renovations. Say goodbye to the rope tow because this is the new escalator that will be bringing beginners and tubers to the top of the bunny slope. If the rope tow was the only thing holding you back from learning, there's no more room for excuses. Better yet, there are 2 of those escalators at the park. Children, beginners, and tubers will all benefit from this Magic Carpet addition. This is one of many new additions to the mountain, all of which were financially planned for prior to the 2013-2014 season. Officials are anxious to start operating. The outdoor area behind the lodge is lined with new bench seating to better accommodate skiers and riders. The back patio has seen an upgrade with recently laid concrete and brick now covering the ground. Also out back, a new fire pit. Mount Shasta also has a new app this year for iOS and Android users. If you're coming here, download the app and log into Facebook. If you're coming with your family and friends, you can log into the app and see where they are on the mountain. With 1 year behind them and snow now on the ground, Mount Shasta is looking forward to the months to come.
if the temperatures are right, if they're low enough, we'll definitely be able to open.
On Mount Shasta, Alyssa Caraprese, Newswatch 12.
Mount Shasta is allowing season pass holders from last year to roll over their pass from last year into this year for a $25 fee. And they now have snow. Officials say there is between 1 foot and 1.5 feet across the mountain. Almost what's needed to open. Coming up, I'll have your forecast for the holiday weekend, and as you make your travel plans, how the Stormwatch 12 To Go weather app can keep you up to date on the latest weather conditions. Welcome back. The answer is B, freezing rain. With our fast-paced lifestyles and busy schedules, it's important to have your local forecast available with the push of a button. The Stormwatch 12 To Go app features current conditions, radar imagery, futurecast, and radar, along with hourly and 7-day forecasts. So first, we're going to show you exactly how to get to the app on the iPad we're using, and this is also available for Android if you have that operating system. The Stormwatch 12 weather app will go ahead and open this up. And then it offers lots of different layers that you can select. And as this is loading, you can see we have current conditions as one of the options. Not only our current temperatures, but what it feels like. So if there is a wind chill or a heat index, humidity, dew point, pressure, winds, visibility, that is something that's important, especially when we are talking about fog. And you can see we have the satellite layer turned on currently. If we can turn that off, you can see the map underneath. You can also change your location. So any place, if your GPS is enabled on your tablet or your smartphone, you can see exactly what location in the forecast for that location is, as well as an hourly forecast and a 7-day forecast. Now keep in mind these forecasts are computer generated, something that is very up to date, so you'll have your forecast available anytime, day or night. So speaking of forecast, something that we really do look for as far as forecasting for the winter is the development of an El Nino or a La Nina, or if we're just going to see a normal pattern as far as that oscillation that is known as El Nino or La Nina. So we're going to talk about what El Nino is, because that is the system or the scenario that it looks like might set up at least for this winter. Now, El Nino means that we are seeing a lack of upwelling in the equatorial Pacific, and that would be the eastern equatorial Pacific. And typically we see trade winds that blow from the east towards the west, right along the equator, right above the equator. And when those winds are not blowing as hard, we see less upwelling. And what that means is the cold water that is at the very bottom of the ocean, well, there's no wind to push the surface water away, and that cold water doesn't have a chance to make its way towards the surface. So instead, we're seeing warmer than average sea surface temperatures, and in conjunction with that, that changes the placement of our jet streams, the polar jet and the Pacific jet stream. So we'll zoom in a little bit and we'll show you those jet streams or the placement, the Pacific jet, and then also the polar jet staying further towards the north. We'll talk just about what that means for our forecast and the forecast for El Nino coming up, but we have one last weather question for you. Temperature inversions are a section of the atmosphere where A, temperature is cool, B, temperature is warm, or C, precipitation forms. And inversions are something that we talk about when we talk about fog forming. We'll be talking more about your winter forecast coming up. Welcome back. When we talk about long-range forecasting, we think of things like El Nino and La Nina. And for this year, the Climate Prediction Center has given us about a 58% chance for an El Nino developing, and that would be a weak El Nino. So let's first take a look at the typical El Nino setup. Typically, the Pacific jet stream stays further towards the south, the polar jet stream staying further towards the north. Well, really what that means is that we will see wetter conditions along the southern United States, cooler conditions for the southeast, and for the northern part, we will be seeing warmer temperatures. Now notice as we start to zoom in a little bit, Southern Oregon, some of Southern Oregon is included in that area of warm temperatures, but for the most part, we are in between warmer than average temperatures and wetter than average precipitation totals. So the CPC also sets out about a 3-month forecast. So what are we expecting in terms of our precipitation probabilities? Well, as mentioned, if an El Nino does set up and there's only about a 58% chance for that happening, the Southwest will see wetter than average conditions, and the Pacific Northwest will see drier than average conditions. But notice where Southern Oregon and Northern California sits.
right in between both areas. And that means we can expect an equal chance. And don't think that that means we will be seeing average precipitation. It means we stand an equal chance for seeing either drier than average precipitation or wetter than average, or seeing our normals. Now, to go along with that, we also look at temperature outlooks, and the CPC also has put this outlook. This includes December, January, and February. And for the western United States, looks like we can expect warmer than average temperatures. Now, although we might get the rainfall that we do require for snowfall at higher elevations, if temperatures stay warm and above average, that can mean snow levels will stay higher. So what we've really been seeing over the past couple of weeks, and at least throughout the fall, we've seen that storm door stay open and the jet stream moving right through our area. The storm's tracking right through southern Oregon and northern California. But do keep in mind, if our temperatures stay above average, most of those snow levels will also stay relatively high. So although we will get the rainfall that we need, we might not get the snowfall that we want. But it's not necessarily something that we want, because we do need that snowfall to add to the snowpack, and that also increases our river levels, the lake levels, as those start to melt as the springtime comes along. So we're kind of at a 50-50 shot for seeing that El Nino develop, and even if it does develop, looks like we will be seeing warmer than average temperatures. Definitely something that we are going to continue to watch as the winter moves on, and something that we will keep you updated as it does change, and hopefully that storm door will stay open as we move throughout the winter. Thank you for joining us with the Storm Watch 12 winter forecast. Our next newscast is coming up tonight at 11 p.m. For the most up-to-date local news, weather, and sports, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and our website, kdrv.com. Have a great evening.